Hey everyone, this is Mrs. Silver, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create a sphere for your clay. It's pretty simple, so follow the materials you'll need. You'll need some kind of modeling tool like this or one of these green ones, and you're also going to need something called a metal rib. I'll show you how to work with that. That's optional, it's not required. And bizarrely enough, you'll need something that looks like a paddle. Well, it is a paddle. So you're also going to go over to the soft plastic bin, and I already have it set up, so because I'm doing this one-handed, and about this much clay. I'd say that's, if you had to gauge how much is that, that's probably about the size of, I'd say, a small grapefruit. So I'll put that over here, and of course if you're the last person getting clay from the soft plastic bin, make sure that you put the lid down. Okay, so you've got your, excuse me, I'm sitting down, your clay and your tools, and I also recommend you have something to put your clay on so that you're not getting clay all over the table, so you don't have as much to clean up. Take your clay, don't worry about wedging it, and break it into 2 equal pieces, and I'm just going to gently kind of pat them into a rough ball. It doesn't have to be perfect, but these are about the same size. And when I'm ready, I'm going to take each of the pieces and take my thumb and stick it down into the piece like that, and then start just moving my thumb around. So I'm pushing on the outside wall, or the inside wall of the piece rather, and in the process of doing so, I'm kind of widening the piece, and I'm creating what some people like to call a pinch pot in the process. So just kind of widening the wall. The idea behind this is that you want any parts of the wall down here to be fairly thin, but not super thin. So about that thick, not that thick or that thick. So kind of just feel around, and anywhere you feel that the wall is getting a little bit too thick, so just move your thumb around. And I'm going to take this part up here and widen it out. Notice I don't even care, right, if there's like lumps and bumps on the outer portion of the clay. By the time I'm done, we're going to have a perfectly round sphere, and you won't even notice they're there. So that's one. And if there's a part that kind of broke and it's too thin like that, I just kind of bring it back together again like that, and then just smooth it out. So don't have any too thin walls either. So that's one half, and I'll do the other half just the same way. And when I'm ready, I put these halves down. So I'm going to pause the video. So I have my other half made, and I did it the exact same way. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you kind of want these to fit together like that. And then once you have them ready to go, you're going to join them together by taking your either the wooden or green modeling tool. I think I'll use the wooden one this time. And let me show you. It's kind of hard to balance with my hand, but you just gently push the clay together. Don't press too hard. You don't want to push this in, but the idea is you're sealing this out completely. So imagine there's a gigantic bubble of air inside the clay, because there is going to be, and you don't want it to leak out. So just make sure this is all completely joined together all the way around, and then go back then with your fingers and sort of just smooth out the clay as best you can. Okay, like that. All right, now this is the fun part. When you're absolutely certain that there are no holes in this, because we're actually going to start to use the paddle on this. And imagine if you had like a ball and there was a hole in it, it would leak out when you do this. But if the clay has no hole, it kind of bounces back. So the air inside is kind of pushing against what I'm doing. So I'm just going to kind of gently take this first with my hands and shape this. And you can already see it's kind of becoming a ball, but it's sort of a mess. So I'm just going to push that together a little bit right there, and then grab my paddle, and it's not like a whack so much as it's just a tap, and I'm just going to kind of move around and start tapping this into more of a spherical shape. And sometimes I find it's easier to do it with the paddle, and sometimes it's easier to do it with my hand. It really just depends on the clay, but already I can start to see the beginning of this sort of coming together. this is great for getting rid of all those lumps and bumps too. So all those areas that were just kind of a horrible mess are now gone, and that's pretty good so far. And when I'm happy with this, and I feel like I've got a pretty good spherical shape, and it doesn't even have to be perfect, but that's not bad. Take the rib and I'm just scraping it against the outside, and you see how that smooths out any areas that you have. So just to show you what this is all going to look like, when you're done, you'll have your sphere and you're going to wrap it very tightly in a bag, like so, right? So it's nice and tight. And then once you have this all wrapped up, I recommend, because everybody's just going to kind of look the same initially, take a piece of paper and tape your name on that, and then tuck the bag under, and this is ready to be stored away in the cabinet. And then obviously I'm going to get a sponge and wipe all this up and put away all my tools.